No, you got it all wrong. The armor is supposed to cover your entire body. Peak performance occurs with peak protection. I disagree. You need to show the people how strong you are. Flex for your enemy and distract them with your muscularity.
This has to be my worst intro yet.
Warcry Catacombs, Kharadron Overlords versus Iron Golems.
Hello folks, welcome to another good old Warcry battle report. Today I wanted to test out the shooting power of the Sky Dwarves deep underground in the Catacombs. And I hadn't used my Iron Golems in a while, so I wanted to see how they would fare against a non-chaos starter warband. So enough of me jabbering on, let's introduce the armies and then flip some cards to see what is in store for this combat. For the Overlords and the Hammer Squad, we have the two Engine Rigger Flyboys. In the shield, we have an Arcanaut Company member with a Skypike, our leader, the Endrin Master with his Endrin Harness, and a Grunstock Thunder with a standard Aether Shot rifle. And finally, in the dagger, we have a pair of Arcanaut Company with light skyhooks. On over to the Iron Golems, for in the hammer, we have a Dwarven Armator, a Legionary with a Bolas, and the Perfector. In the shield squad, we have the Drill Master, the Dominar Leader, and the ever-deadly Ogre Breacher. And finally, in the dagger, we have a pair of Legionaries. Before we get to the battle plan, here is the board all set up on the table. The following four special terrain pieces in play today are the Wall Breach, the Sewer, the Cursed Caskets, and the Collapsed Doorway. Now we move on over to the cards. For deployment, we have chosen Scramble. The Iron Golems in this battle will be the red deployment, and the Kharadron Overlords will be the blue. Both sides will have their shield and hammer squads on the board at the start of the game. For the victory card, we are playing today, the Kharadron Overlords must break out. The Overlords have gotten too deep into the catacombs and are looking for a way out. They must have at least half of their warband leave the left side of the board to achieve victory, while the Iron Golems are looking to keep them down here for some easy kills. And finally, for the twist card, we have Treacherous Bridges. All bridges at the start of this battle start off weakened, which will make things very interesting. With everything out of the way, let's jump right into the battle and roll some turn 1 initiative. We will start things off with the Kharadron Overlords, and they end up getting a triple, a double, and a single. For the Iron Golems, they will roll, and they end up getting a pair of doubles and a couple singles. Both warbands decide to hold off spending any wild dice this round, and we will begin the game with the Iron Golems. The Dominar Leader will go first and use the Rush ability to move up to the weakened bridge. Pause there for a moment, and take its second full action over the top, not risking collapsing it into the lava pits. After this move, we head on over to the Endrin Master, who will copy the enemy leader and use the Rush ability. This Dwarden will get close to the bridge for the first move, and then start heading on over with the second. We will see if the bridge collapses at the end of this second move. And it still stands strong. The Ogre Breacher will then go, and just like the other two fighters this battle round, he will use the Rush ability to get over the bridge safely. In this case, he did not end a move on the bridge, so no roll needs to be had. Following this, we turn back over to the Grunstock Thunder, who will test the bridge's fate once again. He will end his second move in the center of the bridge, and with a 5 on the die, the Dwarden are safe from the lava pits. Back over to the Iron Golems, the Perfector will move down the battlefield and start creating a small blockade for the incoming Overlords. If they even make it over the bridge, of course. After this quick move, the Arcanaut Fighter with the Skypike will just move once and get to the edge of the bridge. The last thing this guy needs is all of his allies falling into the pits due to his carelessness. Now back to the Golems, where the Drill Master here will shift over a bit and get between those two entry points. There is a chance in the future reserves phase that the Overlords may show up there and sneak off the board. The Iron Golems sure don't want that to happen. After this move, we will speed things up and tackle both of the Endrin Riggers here. Now, there was some debate going through my head if these two fighters should stick around to help their allies on the board. But after a quick thought, both of these Sky Dwarves are going to take their massive movement and get off the board for their warband. This means the Dwarves just need 2 more fighters to escape the battlefield for victory. To finish off round 1 here, I will move both the Legionary and the Perfector up the board to continue the blockade from the approaching KO fighters. After this pair of moves, we will end battle round 1. So not much action this battle round, but things are starting to get spicy. A couple KO fighters have abandoned their allies to their own fate, but we shall see what happens in battle round 2. We will begin things with the Kharadron Overlords, and they end up rolling a lot of singles and just 1 double. For the Iron Golems, they grab their dice and roll up a triple and a few singles. Both the KO and the Golems have an extra wild dice, but they will both use only 1. The Overlords will upgrade to a triple, while the Golems will just make a double. So we begin the round with the Endrin Master, who will pop off the Fight for Profit ability to give a nice bonus to his nearby allies, and then just move up just outside of melee range of the Perfector and the other Iron Golems, and then pass the turn on over. The Legionary with the Bolas will go next and first use the double ability, Throw Bolas. He will target the close by Endrin Master. So we roll 2 dice, and no damage comes to the Dwarf. After that failure, the Legionary will then attack at range. Hitting on 5s, the Overlord leader only takes 2 damage. After this, the Iron Golem will scoot back and give some room for his other allies to move up and go on the offensive. The Thunderer will go next and take a shot at the Perfector. Now the Well is giving the fighter some cover, but the Thunderer also has the extra attack thanks to the Endrin Master. We will roll both attacks, and we hit on 5s. The Perfector takes a massive 2 shots to the chest, taking a solid 12 damage. This will then end the Thunderer's turn, and we move on over to the damaged Perfector, who might as well move up and then engage the Endrin Master. This fighter gets 1 attack, hitting in on 5s, and the Perfector whiffs with his hammer. Well, at least he is doing his job holding the fighters back. Following this, the last Dwarden will move. The Arcanaut will double move over the bridge here, and the first move will trigger a bridge roll, but once again, it stands strong. After these 2 moves, we'll get to the rest of the Iron Golems fighters. So I realized a little too late in the game that the KO fighters entering the battle in the reserves phase can really pop up at any of the locations at the left side of the board. So to counteract this, the rest of the Iron Golems fighters that have yet to go this phase will move and better position themselves to stop these Dwarden from simply moving over to exit the battlefield and win the game. So that is all the movements you are seeing now. There are a couple bridge rolls as well, but nothing happens. I wish I noticed this a little sooner in the game, but that is what happens when you aren't as good at Warcry as you think you are. After all of these moves, we will end round number 2. A little combat and lots of moving around this battle round. The Kharadron Overlords need to sneak a couple more fighters over the edge. Can it be done? Let's find out now and roll up some initiative. The Overlords will start things off, and they end up rolling a triple, a double, and a single. For the Iron Golems, they take their 6d6 and get a double and a bunch of singles. This means the Golems have the initiative, and they will take both their wild dice and make a double and a triple, while the Overlords will boost to another triple and a double. We then pop over to the reserves phase, where the Golems luckily can take this entrance down here to block off any easy escape for one of the KO fighters. But the rest of the fighter placements should make things a lot more interesting for the rest of the game. After placing these models, we start off with the Iron Golems. The Dominar will go first and get in range of the KO fighter right on the board's edge, and then use the Onslaught ability to give a boost to his attacks. The Dominar now has 4 attacks and is hitting on 3s. After the dice are rolled, the Kharadron fighter ends up only taking 4 damage, not the beatdown he was suspecting. The Arcanaut with the Skyhook that was just damaged will use the Onslaught ability as well, and attack the Drill Master, who is yet to go. We will roll everything here. With the KO fighter hitting in on 5s, the Chainbringer ends up taking 4 damage. This will then turn things over to the Drill Master herself, who will use the Onslaught ability and attack the other Skyhook Dwarden nearby. These turns aren't that creative, and so far, not that effective either. We shall see if the Drill Master turns things around. Hitting on 3s here, and she deals exactly 12 damage, taking out the Armored Dwarden. Good thing she used the Onslaught ability. After her go, we turn on over to the Thunder on the bridge, who will take another shot into the heavily damaged Perfector. Hitting on 5s due to the cover, and the first shot is enough to take down the enemy. After this shot, the fighter will move off the bridge and end things there. The KO now have a relatively clear path, but they have slow, stubby legs. The Legionary with the Bolas will go next and get within combat range of the Endron Master and attack in. Hitting on 5s, the fighter misses his attacks, but is actively slowing down the Kharadron escape. The Endron Master will go and attempt to delete the annoying Legionary in front of him. Hitting on 3s here, and the KO leader deals exactly 10 damage on his first strike with a very good roll. This eliminates the fighter, and the Endron Master will slowly move on forward, ending his turn after the move. For the rest of the round, all of the Iron Golems fighters will sit still except for the Armator, who will move up and help defend the left side of the board. There will be a bridge roll, but it is safe once again. For the rest of the KO fighters, the Duardin with the Skypike will use the rush ability with the remaining ability dice and make his way as fast as they can up the board. After these moves are complete, we will then end Battle Round 3. Some good fights and some slow legs. The KO fighters are in an extremely tough position, but we shall see if they make some headway this next battle round. Let's move on to some turn 4 initiative. We begin things with the Kharadron Overlords, and they end up rolling a lot of singles and just one double. For the Iron Golems, they grab their dice and roll up a triple, a double, and a single. The Overlords have the initiative, and they will make another double, while the Iron Golems will just hold on to their wild die this turn. We will start things off with the Duardin, who is surrounded. Since he cannot disengage from the beating, he will pray to some god he does not worship and attack the Drill Master. Hitting on 5s, the Skyhook pierces in a big 7 damage, but even a good roll cannot save this fighter. That is because the Dominar is next, and will just go all out into this little guy. He pops off the Onslaught ability for good measure. All attacks are rolled here, and they deal damage on 3s. And the Duardin is annihilated. He didn't stand a chance. After this, the other Arcanaut will use the rush ability to get over that damn bridge. The first move stops him at the start of the bridge, and the second sends him to the opposite edge. We'll have a bridge roll, and we get a 1. Oh wow. That is one way to end things here, as we see the hopes of the Kharadron Overlords fall into the lava pits. Getting an overview of the battlefield, the Endron Master and the Thunder are too slow to reach the left side of the board and fight through the imposing Iron Golems fighters. That means the game will end here, and victory will go to the Iron Golems. A quick game for you folks. I was sure after making the warbands and rolling for the cards that the Kharadron Overlords were going to have a tough time, and I was right. Maybe it was the wrong idea to have the Endron Riggers leave the battlefield so soon, but I feel if I had the opportunity to escape the catacombs, I personally would take it. But then again, I am also not some Warhammer fighter of great strength. Nonetheless, I hope you all enjoyed the battle report. For those of you who stuck to the end, if you are so inclined, check out the Patreon and all of the other socials. Until next time, folks, I want to thank you all for watching, and of course, happy gaming.